Hi, everybody. Heather Coleman here, intuitive medium, clairvoyant, clairsentient, and aura and energy work practitioner. So yes, I wear a lot of hats. I'm also a yoga instructor. So, the topic for today's vlog or learn video kind of came to me because right now I'm in the midst of a really busy week. It is a go, go, go. And what I am doing is I am making time within the pockets of my day for the things that are important. And I thought this topic would segue really well with how we can stay connected to source, to our spirit realm, our higher self, our intuition, in the midst of the daily clutter and noise of our lives. So I want to give you a few tips on this. A lot of people that I know do what I used to do, which is, to be very blunt, completely waste opportunities because of false evidence appearing real or fear. Like, okay, for example, I am really busy teaching fitness classes this week, and I just realized that I had a gap, a break between classes, and it didn't make sense to go home. So instead of saying, I can't record this week's learn video, I said, wait, I'm right here in the car. It's quiet. I'm up. I'm alert. Let's do it. So I found the time. Too often we tell ourselves, I don't have time for something, when the reality is, if we shifted our thinking a little bit, we have all the time we need to do whatever it is that's truly, truly important to us. So using that concept to staying connected to the other realm, I like to tell people that the car is one of the best places to connect to your higher self, your angels, your deceased loved ones. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I have to pay attention to the road. Absolutely. So I'm going to give you 3 tips about the car, okay? One is take a few minutes to just sit in the car, because the truth is that most of us can find that time if we get out to the car 2 minutes before we have to drive out of our driveway. Most of us can do that. And or when we first come home, sit in the car for just a minute or two to do the following. Quieting your mind. Now, there's a lot of ways to quiet your mind. My favorite is just to take some deep breaths. So anyone can find time once or twice a day in the car to take some deep breaths. So really, one of the biggest things is take those little bits of time, either when you're about to leave or when you've just pulled up to a place, to sit and breathe and have that quiet time, because that's when you're usually alone. In other words, if you're not alone much during the day, the car might be one of the only times you're alone. So take advantage of it, even if it's only for brief amounts of time. Because really, the key to staying connected to source, which we often define as our spirit guides, okay, our deceased loved ones, our higher self, our own intuition, so the deeper knowing part of ourselves, is going within, quieting our mind. And the thing about quieting our mind, I like to say to people, don't try to empty your mind or push the thoughts out, because what we resist persists. So finding the time at least once a day to go inward requires listening to our thoughts, not shoving them out, not discounting them. We don't want to invalidate our thoughts. We want to turn the volume up, because the more we truly hear what's really going on in our mind, the more we're going to give ourselves a brain rinse. We're going to clean our mind. We're actually going to make the process of our mind more efficient. So again, the car, I wanted to start with that since I'm in the car, and this is a great example of how I'm using this time really well. So the car is a great place to start. And then from there, what I'm going to suggest you do is look for little bits of time, little pockets of time throughout your day where you can find 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 or 20 is great, to just be silent. The tub, the shower, whether it's a shower or a bath, is a great time to say to yourself, I'm going to turn off phones. I'm going to just go inward. I'm going to practice my breathing, my deep breathing, maybe put on a guided meditation. The car is a great place to put on a guided meditation if you're stopped in a safe place. Don't do so if the car is moving, of course. But really, if you're very busy and on the go, the challenge is look for times that you, even if it's only a minute at a time, to quiet your mind, to go inward. Oftentimes, again, which came up just a moment ago, the first step to going inward is listening to what's really happening in your thoughts. Sometimes when we begin doing this, what's in our mind isn't very pleasant. We might not even realize just a lot of the thoughts that happen in our mind, and we might be surprised at what's really going on in there. Another piece, another way, I'm going to say, that you can stay connected to source when there's noise around you is to set the intention to be aware of signs. One of the biggest ways I like to explain signs is synchronistic or repeating themes. For example, just a short time ago, I looked up at the time counter on my phone here and it said 4:44. I've been seeing a lot of fours. A lot of fours have been coming across my attention, whether that's on clocks, signs, advertisements, just various places. I've been seeing a lot of fours. Now, when we are attuned to observe these things, what that does is it kind of, we might say it aligns our aura and our upper head chakras to be more sensitive to signs from the other side, from source. Also, when you think about your deceased loved ones, the people that you think about all the time, you know them really well. So I'm going to use my deceased grandma as an example. Whenever I notice roses or the image of roses, or say a song about roses coming up in a place that I might not always see or smell or sense roses, I know that that is a communication from my grandma. She loved roses. She was an amazingly avid gardener. She had a lot of rose and floral patterns around her house. So when I, let's say, am driving and happen to notice flowers, especially roses, in a place that I don't often see them, I know that that's my Grandma Dolores getting my attention. People sometimes ask me, how does this kind of thing work? Now, it's not that she put the roses there, but one of the biggest things our spirit guides and deceased loved ones do, if we allow them, they will direct our attention to certain things. And I'll tell you, we want that guidance. We want to be allowing them to do that, because when we do that, three amazing things happen. One, we are standing in a place of faith. And that's where you want to live. Trust me, you do want to be in a place of faith. Now, whether that's with a religion that you follow or not, either way, because faith, religion is definitely one great path to finding faith. And if so for you, amazing. But it doesn't have to be. In other words, living from a place of faith is unique to everybody. So this is another way to do it. If you remain open to the signs and the communications from your deceased loved ones, you are standing in a place of faith. So it's going to do that for you. Two, it's going to help to calm and quiet your mind. If you think about what is one of the main reasons that we look to feel connected at all times to source, it's so that we can feel calm and reassured. So we're going to get those benefits. Finally, we're going to get the guidance that we need. You know, again, because people are always asking me, how can I be more aware of signs? How can I be sure that I'm getting a true communication from the other side? Well, again, why do we want that reassurance? Because we want that calm, as we just said. We also want guidance. So often when people are saying, boy, I really need to be connected to them, it's so important. It's because we want to make sure that we are making the best and right decisions that we can for our lives, for ourselves, for the people around us, for our careers, for our families, you name it. And so when we can remain in a place of faith, connected to the other side, we can feel confident that we're receiving those signs and those little bits of guidance and mentoring that our spirit guides give us by paying attention to those signs. So I hope that all makes sense. You know, we do touch on a lot of these topics in so many of my videos, but, you know, I like to kind of tackle a lot of these questions from different angles, because being on that spiritual path is a journey. And, you know, you'll notice these things too, that when you say turn on YouTube or the internet and something just pops up, so often it's exactly what we need. So just know that this video is finding you exactly when you need to hear this, So make this your own. And today, take a little time to just meditate or reflect on, where does this show up in your life, and where does this nudge you in the perfect direction on your journey? Check out my website if you haven't already. It is heatherlcoleman.com. I do run periodic message circles over Zoom. There's guided meditations on there. And if you haven't already checked out my YouTube channel, check that out. Subscribe so you never miss a video. And I will see you in the next video. Namaste.